What's up, everyone? My name is Royish Good Looks. I'm here today with a special video. We're gonna do a little behind the scenes of how I make a remix vocal. I'm gonna use my song, I'm Mr. Meeseeks remix as an example, but you can apply these tips to any audio that you wanna remix. Step one is you wanna find the rhythm of the vocal that you wanna remix. You wanna find the natural tempo and rhythm that already exist in the vocal and base your song around that. To do that, we listen to the vocal over and over. After hearing the vocal repeated a few times, you can kind of hear that rhythm already starting to come out. Pro Tools has an awesome feature where you can tap the tempo of whatever you're listening to. This particular vocal had a tempo of about 95 beats per minute. If I play this clip with a metronome behind it, you'll clearly hear all those rhythms start to come out. All of that's already naturally there. I don't need to time stretch anything yet. There might be some beats that aren't perfect, but we can obviously change them later if we want to kind of stretch things. Once you have a tempo established, you can start building a track around that. Don't worry about exactly what the beats are or what the chords are. Just write some music and fit the vocal on top of it. We already know how the song turns out, but when I was originally writing this, I would have shifted the line to beat 1, beat 2, beat 3, or any of the subdivisions of that to feel what the rhythm sounded like on those different beats. Here's beat 1. All right, let's go to beat 2. Obviously still works. Things get a little bit weird if you throw it onto 8th notes or 16th notes, but again, part of that discovery, you never know what it's gonna sound like on this beat or that beat. Once you've kind of locked in that original tempo though, you can experiment and see, oh, that actually is kind of cool with that little offbeat there. Now that we've established the tempo of the song and what beat we're gonna place it on, we can move to step 2, which is the melody. Just like with the rhythm, we're gonna see what pitch contours already exist in the vocal and try to use that as a basis for our melody. So we're gonna open up Melodyne, and I've already transferred this in. This is the software I use to pitch correct the vocals. Even though this is just dialogue, it has pitch to it, and we're gonna try to take that pitch and just shape it a little bit so it sounds a little bit more musical. I see a lot of notes that kind of revolve around B flat here. That to me sounded kind of like a dominant function where we're going so, fa, mi, re, do. From that, I derived that we were in E flat major. I'm gonna base my whole melody around that B flat, just like we based around 95 BPM. It's gonna make it a lot easier. So I'm just gonna nudge all these notes around until they feel good in the key of E flat. You'll notice this is starting lower than the original song. I'm Mr. Meeseeks, look at me. But we did I'm Mr. Meeseeks. Of course, you could keep it like that. It would sound just fine. I'm Mr. Meeseeks, look at me. But I kind of like it having that up and down carousel kind of feel to it. I'm Mr. Meeseeks, look at me. Yes, sirree. Now, you'll notice that I don't have the repeat in yet. Why not? Well, because I use a really sneaky musical trick called sequence, where we play the same contour of a melody, but a few notes lower in the scale. So I'll literally copy and paste the first part of this. I'm Mr. Meeseeks, look at me. I'm Mr. Meeseeks, yes, sirree. But of course, it doesn't repeat the same exact melody. We take it down a minor third. And that's it. It's repeating the vocal with the same rhythm and the same contour of a melody, but just a few steps lower, makes it super catchy. Of course, we could have actually brought that up in pitch too if we wanted. Let's see what it sounds like a couple notes higher. I'm Mr. Meeseeks, look at me. I'm Mr. Meeseeks, yes, sirree. So you can do all sorts of things to change the melody, get different emotions out of it. I like to keep it as natural as possible. You can see when we throw the notes up a little bit higher, it gets a little bit silly with the vocal quality. The more natural you can keep it, the better. You'll notice in the other choruses of the songs or the B part of the choruses, I embellish the last note of this line. Look at me, yes, sirree, yes, sirree. Little embellishments to change how the end of that line sounds, make it a little bit more fun. Let's play with the last line now. Now I want to put a little bit more of a musical period at the end of this phrase. The last line has a nice contour to it already. We don't even really need to change the pitch, but to make it fit more from a songwriting perspective, I'm going to nudge it around. I'm Mr. Meeseeks, yes, sirree. Now we have a great hook which repeats part of the melody with a sequence and has a nice musical cadence at the end. So we locked in the rhythm, we locked in the pitch. Step 3 is what I like to call add more. You might think it's done, but we can throw it a little bit over the top if we add another layer of pitch correction on top of that. So you can hear on every note, we've got these little artifacts flipping up and down, hard quantizing from pitch to pitch, giving you that classic auto-tune Cher effect or T-Pain. Or you can just dial it back a little bit just so it picks up everything that maybe Melodyne is missing. Sometimes if there's gravelly notes that have a little bit of like rasp, or it's not cleanly recorded, like there's some background noise, which a lot of times happens with remixes, you can use auto-tune to kind of spell check the pitch. So getting a little bit of that auto-tune flavor, but not super robotic, you can dial that into taste. And my final tip is we can add a little bit of vibrato back in to bring some life into this performance. A lot of times when you're remixing vocals, you're completely flattening the pitch. There's no natural vibrato to it after that, and we can add some artificially back in to give it a little bit of movement. So over-exaggerated there, but you can dial that into taste for the tempo of the song or just the vibe of the song. There's also settings that will let the vibrato come in over time if you're holding out a long note. Yes, sirree. Where it doesn't have to be vibrato 100% of the time. It's gonna slowly fade in to the end of the note. Can add a lot of realism with that. Play around with these effects, time it out to your song. It'll sound amazing. As you can see, my process is kind of less is more. Whatever already exists there, I just want to take that, highlight it, enhance it. I don't want to reinvent the wheel. I just want to push it down the hill. I hope you enjoyed this look behind the scenes of how I make a remix vocal. If you want to see more videos like this, leave a comment and let me know. I'd love to make more. Until then, I'm Royish Good Looks, and thanks for watching.